season of rest and a season to grow. There's a season of color and a season of snow. We belong to the mountains. We are born on the breeze, and we learn to dance from the swaying of trees. Learn to be free from a swift flowing stream. They give us their wisdom, we give them our dreams. These mountains are ancient, these mountains are strong. Their music will heal us if we'll sing along. The wind in the willows, the bird in the air have stories to tell us and a song we can share. We belong to the mountains. We are born on the breeze, and we learn to dance from the swaying of trees. Learn to be free from a swift flowing stream. They give us their wisdom, we give them our dreams. Did you ever count stars on a clear summer night? Our sun is just one of the many in sight. We are so small in this grand universe. It makes me feel grateful for my time on this earth. We belong to the mountains. We are born on the breeze. We learn to dance from the swaying of trees. Learn to be free from a swift flowing stream. They give us their wisdom, we give them our dreams. They give us their wisdom, we give them our dreams.
all here to celebrate the restoration of this 85-year-old tower. Erected in 1918, it saw 60 years of active service. The DEC discontinued its use in 1978, and it sat here on the Azure summit, neglected, vandalized, and forgotten for the next 24 years. During the course of its 60 years of active service, at least 15 fire observers from the local St Regis Falls North Country area spent years of their lives up here on this summit, manning the tower. And at this point, we're aware of at least 9 forest rangers who worked very closely with these fire observers and who spent years caring for this area.
I received a call from Carolyn Casca. Wanted to know if I wanted to help restore the fire tower. And Azure Mountain is in my backyard, and I've climbed so many times and had so many wonderful memories that I readily agreed. In August 2001, the conversation between Jack Freeman of the Adirondack Mountain Club and Tom Martin of the DEC indicated that the fire tower may be coming down. Persistence from Jack and also from Stephen Engelhardt of Adirondack Architectural Heritage that the tower got to stay, and the Azure Mountain Fire Tower, in my opinion, is much part of Azure Mountain as the bedrock we're standing on. Public meetings were held, volunteers and committee members came forward, individuals, organizations, and businesses donated money and materials, and with Carolyn's persistence, the pieces of the puzzle came together. So after 2 years, we're here to celebrate a year ending and a new beginning.
That the tower almost came down. We at the department sometimes don't talk to each other. And some folks in Albany had worked with the Mountain Club and Steve Engelhardt to have this tower listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Unbeknownst to me, that had happened. And I had scheduled some operations folks to come up, do some measurements, look at the tower, and see what kind of tools we needed to take the tower down. I believe it was a Saturday morning that Jack called me at home. And I can tell you that even with this wind, I could hear Jack holding the phone out here. He was loud and clear. Then I got a call from Steve Engelhardt, and Steve was loud and clear, and again I held the phone out to here. Well, they corrected me. I realized the errors of my ways, and here we are today to celebrate the fact that the tower remains and hopefully will remain for many years into the future. And it's a result of folks like Jack and Steve Engelhardt, and certainly Carolyn and Mike, who did the lion's share of the work to restore the tower. The department played a very small part in this, and I can't emphasize enough our thanks to the folks who were involved in rehabilitating the tower so it's again available for the public to use and enjoy. Thanks.
3 years ago, if you'd come up this tower, or up the mountain, what you would have seen was an eroding summit, washing away, a disheveled tower, an old rust bucket I called it, 2 lower risers missing, the wood falling apart, the landings in bad shape, half the roof falling off, and it was a sad sight. Aside from the aesthetic unpleasantness of that, it was a safety hazard. What we call an attractive nuisance. People still want to climb the tower because it's there, and it was just a matter of time before we had a serious injury or worse on the tower. As much as Wilbur and the rescue squad and myself like to carry people off of this mountain, we really had 2 choices. Like Tom said, one was to remove the tower, or 2, repair the tower. And I hope I speak for everyone here that we made the right choice in deciding to repair the tower so everyone can enjoy it. And, there's a lot of people to thank. A lot of those who hike, you hike hear about the high peaks and they get all the recognition, but you really have a gem right here in your backyard. And I hope you can enjoy it for years to come. And it will help us keep it in the condition it is today. There's a lot of people to thank, the donors who all generously gave it, who's change out of their pocket, or some of the very generous donations we got. One and all, thanks. Thanks to all the crews who helped work on the tower. Thanks to the DEC's cooperation, Tom Martin, and especially Phil Johnstone, operations supervisor, who did a lot of the work on the erosion, helped with the helicopter work. I'd like to thank the State Police Aviation for their support in getting materials up here. And especially like to thank the committee and all the volunteers who put in their time fundraising and who are up here digging and sweating with the rest of us. And Carolyn and Mike especially for an outstanding job. Thank you.
I think Mike and I, both Tom and Jeff, have made some very nice comments about the volunteer side of the restoration. We would both say, and our committee of 24 individuals from around the North Country would all say that none of this would have been possible without the wholehearted cooperation and support and enthusiasm of the DEC. It was the state police helicopter that brought up 3.5 tons of materials, 7 different trips. Jeff, who has been with us every step of the way, so we are very much appreciative of the partnership with the DEC. Jack Freeman has been mentioned. Jack is the Director of Outreach for the Adirondack Mountain Club. He first became involved with the restoration movement of Adirondack Fire Towers back about 1993 with the Blue Mountain Fire Tower. And he has been the mentor to numerous Adirondack Fire Tower groups, including this one, since that time. Jack?
Any work. I left that to Carolyn and Mike and all the rest of you, and I'm happy to have had a very small part in mentoring, as she described it, and I've enjoyed my several climbs up here, both before and now after the restoration, and it's a wonderful day for all of us, and thank you for coming.
You may have seen our Azure Mountain Friends Fire Tower Interpretive Guide. If you have not, we will have some available this afternoon at the Adult Center. But a gentleman who contributed the lion's share of the material in that guide is here with us this morning, Doug Egeland. Doug lived in St Regis Falls from 1977 through 2000, and during those years, he researched every aspect of this mountain, its human and natural history, and we speak of him as the naturalist, the historian, and the steward fondly of Azure Mountain.
That Mike and Carolyn and I had started up the group to save the tower, and I finally did get back in touch with them, and they did a fine job, and all you people that belong to the Azure Mountain Friends that helped them, you're all part of saving this tower, and this is part of history. And when you look at the forest around you today, it's the men and this tower in this area who helped be responsible for saving this forest, this beautiful land and landscape we have. And I'm very happy that it is saved and the work that you've done into it. That's all I can say. Thank you.
And one of the committee members is Mike Bailey, the town supervisor. And anything we needed from the town, Mike's provided, including this afternoon where the picnic is. It's all thanks to the town of Waverly and Mike Bailey.
Briefly, I'd like to thank this organization, which I'm a part of, Friends of Azure Mountain, for caring about the structure right here. And it's a wonderful thing to see. I really want to thank the Corps people. You know who you are, what's been done here. I have a philosophy that I use. I'm a we person, not a me person. And I can really say that this group here was a we group. And I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Good morning. Appreciate everybody's invitation, Friends of Azure Mountain, for having my wife Monty and myself up here this morning. There are many families, many generations who've hiked this mountain. In my lifetime, 5 generations of camps have been associated that I can recall since I was born in 1950 with being up here. My father, Maurice Camp, sends his greetings. He was not able to make the climb. He's 87, but he will meet everybody this afternoon in the falls. I can remember as a child coming up here, probably in somebody's backpack. We brought the 5th generation Jim Camp up here this summer and climbed up. We traveled all over the country, my family, but that log cabin at the foot of the mountain here across the road will always be home. And we like to think that this tower is kind of watching over us. I can remember coming up the mountain, looking for the indigo buntings, seeing a family of rose-breasted grosbeaks one summer, seeing the big splinter of wood where the lightning bolt had torn out the side of a tree, bringing friends up every summer to point out those things. Neil Burdick, one of them, back in junior high in the mid to late 60s. Coming up here as a young child, I always got thirsty and tired. To get closer to the top, I always wished that there was a little spring up here, something, always looking for it. But seeing this group of people and the dedication and putting your hearts into this place, I think that spring is really here, and it's been here all along. I might offer this group a challenge. Find that cabin down at the bottom of the mountain. Wouldn't it be nice to reunite the tower and the cabin together? Thank you.
Back in 1934, the New York State purchased the 535-acre parcel of land known as the Azure Mountain parcel from Paul Lemieux, who lived in St Regis Falls. And there are 3 generations with us this morning of the Lemieux family. There is a representative, I think, from this family that will say a few words.
My great-great-grandfather, Paul Lemieux, used to own this mountain before the state bought it from him. And my dad, Peter Isaacson, remembers when he was 5 climbing this mountain to bring lunch every day to the fire tower watchers who were up in this tower. And he remembers the long hikes, but he remembers his uncle Jim Lemire up here watching for the fire in the fire tower. And so it's great to be here and see the fire tower restored. Thank you.
This wind is a super challenge. The next person to share a piece that he has written about Azure Mountain is Neil Burdick. Neil is a very well-known Adirondack author and editor, and as a young man, 12 and 13 from Plattsburgh, he first became familiar with Azure Mountain, climbing it with Jim Camp. I understand that these 2 gentlemen have been reunited this morning after 28 years hiking the Azure Mountain Trail. So, Neil?
It took longer than it did when we were 13 years old. Thank you. This is an excerpt from an introduction to a book I had published in 1985 about the centennial of the Forest Preserve. And I picked Azure Mountain to write about because it's my favorite mountain in all the Adirondacks, and I have Jim Camp to thank for introducing me to this mountain. And excerpted from this is the statement on the back of the wallet cards that you've probably seen, or the summit stewards give out. This is called A Tower and a Rock. On top of Azure Mountain, precariously near the brink of its precipitous southwest face, sits an immense boulder. I suppose it's a glacial erratic, transported from who knows where by incomprehensible tons of ice, and left behind like refuse when the ice retreated north 10,000 years ago. It has always fascinated me, mysterious monolith perched there like a gargoyle high on a Gothic spire. Within sight of my rock, nearby upon the true summit of the mountain, stands a fire observer's tower. It has been abandoned for some years now, but I can remember when I climbed this mountain as a child, winding my way up the spindly stairs,
my heart nearer my throat with each step, and being shown by the observer how to pinpoint on his map a suspicious plume of smoke. It stands now like an erector set, deserted by a young boy grown up. But it too fascinates me. Who built it and how? What manner of men passed hours of time in the crow's nest of a cabin, scanning hundreds of miles of forest for signs of a fire that might destroy everything in sight? What fires never raged, thanks to the use of this decaying hulk? A tower and a rock, man and nature. Most of Adirondack history over the past 2 centuries can be condensed in these 2 ideas. To trace Adirondack history is to trace man's relationship with nature. Thank you.
The fire tower closed back in 1978, and the fire observer back then was Mike Richards. I think he was 17 years old, and he was up here for 2 years. And he was the last one that had been in the open tower, and we have Mike Richards here today to reopen the Azure Mountain Tower.
Never thought I'd be up here again to do this. When I walked out these doors, I said, goodbye, but it was a really great job when I was up here. I thought it was the best job probably I ever had. I really never thought I'd be up here doing this again, but it seems good. Thank you.